Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Michael Pokey here. Hey, this is a question I get asked probably the most via email or even sometimes in the comments section of a lot of videos. And that question is, should I invest in this or should I invest in that? And hey, speaking of emails, a quick little segue. If you want to become a channel member, please do so. What it gives you access to, it's a small monthly fee, but of course it gives you access to being able to email me directly and ask me any Pokemon investing related questions. And hey, also, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. That would mean a lot. Let's keep growing this channel. We're ticking up there in subscribers and, views are still ticking along. So it'd be great if we can grow this channel even more and move it to greater heights. Anyway, on to the topic at hand. Invest in this or invest in that. And what I mean by that is I quite often get asked questions like, should I invest in English's Evolving Skies or Japanese's EV Heroes? So what we're going to do for today's video is I'm going to go through 5 examples of should we invest in this or should we invest in that? And they're both going to have really, really similar values. And I suppose the reason for this video is you might set yourself a little bit of a budget each week out of each paycheck or each fortnight or even each month. And at the end of the month, at the end of the fortnight, or the end of the week, you're thinking, what should I spend my money on this week? If I've got $200 spare, should I buy 2 Scarlet and Violet booster boxes or should I buy 1 Sword and Shield booster boxes? So you get the idea of the video. And there's going to be a big finale. The 5th one is a bit of a banger, an interesting one for the big players in the game at the end. So let's start off with number 1. Here's a really common example. Really, really similar values. Should we invest in 1 Evolving Skies booster box or 3 Fusion Strike booster boxes? Now, 3 Fusion Strike booster boxes will set you back probably a touch over $700 and 1 Evolving Skies booster box will set you back, I should say, probably just under $700. Either way, they're extremely simple. Give or take a couple of dollars, you're going to be about bang on $700 to get 3 Fusion Strike or 1 Evolving Skies. Now, I suppose to premise this video, it depends on a few things. And the main one is your timeline. If you're expecting to, make profit or gains in a year's time, maybe one's going to be better than the other. Or if you're expecting to make, or if you're going to hold, I should say, for 5 years or 10 years, then it's going to be a very different story. So let's just look at those 2 sets for a second to delve in, I suppose, a bit deeper to be able to answer this question. 3 Fusion Strike versus 1 Evolving Skies. We all know Evolving Skies is one hell of a set. It's arguably, in my opinion, I think if you set the set side by side with Team Up, it's a better set than Team Up. I actually almost think Cosmic Eclipse is a touch better set than Team Up, but that's for a different video, and that's just my opinion. You might agree with it or disagree with it. But if we set the 2 sets side by side, Team Up versus Evolving Skies, I think Evolving Skies is the better set. And I know we're not comparing it to Team Up, but I'm trying to make the point here. Evolving Skies is very different print runs, of course, but Evolving Skies is the greatest modern Pokemon card set, in my opinion. I know pull rates are... I'm not talking pull rates. I'm just talking put the cards in a line from top to bottom in terms of value. Top 20 cards, and man, is that a good-looking Pokemon card. Man, is that a good-looking top 20. Like, hats off. It deserves all the accolades it can get. I don't need to go into how good it is, and the price speaks for itself. Demand has just absorbed supply so quickly and rapidly, even after reprint and a small second wave reprint. Like, it's just gone through the roof, that set, and deservedly so. Fusion Strike is only just starting to get the accolades it deserves. It is that Ghost Psychic set. Now, to answer the question, right, if you're looking in a year's time, I think you're probably better off investing in Fusion Strike, or even 2 years' time, because I think Fusion Strike is on the premise of moving up. I suppose Fusion Strike, in my opinion, has more chance of doubling from $235 or whatever it's sitting at the moment, probably $235, I think, to $470 than Evolving Skies does from $700 to $1,400. I think that'll happen maybe a little bit quicker. And then the other side of the equation is, I suppose, fast forwarding the clock so far down the line that it becomes vintage per se, even though it's hard to think of Sword and Shield ever as being vintage. But if we think of it along the timeline of, say, something like Black and White era, or even a bit further behind, like a Diamond and Pearl or a Platinum, it's getting into that sort of modern vintage stage when it starts becoming that old. When we're talking, upwards of 10 grand a booster box for the best booster boxes inside an era. So which one will be better then? Will Evolving Skies still hold 3 times the value of Fusion Strike? I don't think it will. It's a better set, don't get me wrong. Is it a 3 times value better set in the future? Like, put it this way, is in 15 years' time, is Evolving Skies going to be a $9,000 booster box and Fusion Strike going to be a $3,000 booster box, or are they going to get a little bit closer than that? I think they're going to get a little bit closer than that. I always think Evolving Skies will well and truly hold a premium over Fusion Strike, but maybe double. If Evolving Skies is a $5,000 booster box in some universe 5 years, 10 years down the track, then Fusion Strike's probably going to be a $2,500 booster box. So I think either way, and could be completely wrong here, but I think either way, the 3 Fusion Strike booster boxes is a slightly better investment than 1 Evolving Skies booster box, particularly if you're holding long term. The longer you're holding, probably the better. Second one I want to touch on, and these are a bit hard, singles, because I don't want to compare singles to sealed, because sealed is like fine wine, isn't it? It just ages and ages and ages and upticks. Singles are more volatile. They can go up and down rapidly. But I wanted to compare 1 Crown Zenith Mewtwo V-Star versus 1 Paldea Evolved ETB and 1 Tyranitar from Paldea Evolved. I've done a video recently on singles, and one of them I mentioned was Crown Zenith, and we've seen it again and again, time and time again, with Sword and Shield once more. Lost Origin, Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, Chilling Reign, Astral Radiance even. Once the sets go out of print, the singles uptick. Like, the singles follow trend. The market realizes, whoa, like, these aren't getting printed again. And if something's good, which Mewtwo V-Star is, and Crown Zenith is, as soon as we realize, hold on, it's past this year's reprint window, we don't think Crown Zenith is going to cop another one. Already been printed quite heavily. And then all of a sudden we see ETBs go up to a decent price, and then we'll start seeing things like Mewtwo upticking in price as well. So just so you know the values, Mewtwo's $49, and if we can, so roughly $50, and if we combine Paldea Evolved ETB and the Tyranitar, you're a touch over $50. So we're sort of working on a different spectrum here. If you've finished the week off, you got $50 to spare on Pokemon card investing, which one would you go to? Mewtwo or the ETB and the Tyranitar? This is a harder one to answer than the first one, I think. All depends on one thing, and I know this sounds a bit blasé, but it all depends on whether Paldea gets a reprint. If Paldea gets a reprint, the Crown Zenith Mewtwo is the way better bet for the short term. If we're talking 2-3 years, it'll blow it out of the water. If we're talking 10 years, though, having a sealed product is really going to help in that decision. So it depends on your time frame. If we're talking 2 or 3 years, I think Crown Zenith Mewtwo will blow it out of the water. If we're talking 10 years, go the Paldea Evolved route. Now, next one, the third one on the list. This is another one I get asked so often. Should I invest in 1 Sword and Shield or 2 Scarlet and Violet? Because roughly at the moment, those latter Sword and Shield sets are about double the price in a lot of cases as 1 Scarlet and Violet booster box. So you can get 2 Scarlet and Violet for 1 Sword and Shield. So I get asked that all the time. And this is the example I wanted to bring to the table, but in a bigger scale. 1 Lost Origin booster box case, which is about $1,082 at the moment, or 2 Temporal Forces booster box cases, which are currently about $570 US. So double that, we're pretty much at the same price, aren't we? We're about $1,080, $1,060 US dollars. So you're getting 12 Temporal Forces booster boxes versus 1 Lost Origin. Man, Lost Origin is a good set. It is. It'll go down, I think, in my opinion, as the second best set from the Sword and Shield. Well, it's stacked at the top there. Evolving Skies owns the top place. Then it's this real jostling. I've done a video on this, and it's so hard to decide because Fusion Strike's better than people let on. Chilling Reign's better than people let on. Lost Origin's a banger with an awesome trainer gallery with 3 Pikachus inside there, a Charizard, a Gengar. I know they're easier pull rates, and that Giratina is just stellar, and the Aerodactyl is beautiful as well. So it's like 2 Mega Chase cards with a bunch of trainer gallery hits. Brilliant Stars, trainer gallery, like that gets a little bit forgotten about. It's an old art Charizard as the main chase card. Plus you've got, you've got Umbreon inside the trainer gallery. Like, what I'm getting at though is you've got arguably the second best set somewhere jostling around for second place in whole Sword and Shield era versus the new kid on the block, which is Temporal Forces. Now, Temporal Forces, it's so hard to say this one. The safe bet here, to pull the trigger on the safe bet, is to buy a case of Lost Origin. That's the safe bet because the odds of this ever get printing again are so low. We know it's a stellar set. We don't know what's going to happen with Temporal Forces. It could cop a major reprint. It could also cop none. And then all of a sudden, it does a Rebel Clash on us. It's a better set than Rebel Clash, of course, but you get what I mean. It's the print run that's going to push it up. So the safe bet here is Lost Origin. Next one, and then the stellar one, the fifth one to finish up on. Next one I want to touch on is a little bit of a, I won't say smaller budget, but a bit of a smaller idea. 1 times Team Up 3-pack blister at $200, or 1 times Astral Radiance booster box at $175. I know we're a little bit away, but we're pretty close. We're talking roughly around that $200 price. And, you know, who knows? Is someone really going to pay $200 for a Team Up 3-pack blister? You might be able to haggle someone down. So let's call it $175 square for an Astral Radiance booster box and a 3-pack Team Up blister. Now, people will turn to these blister packs when a set really goes through the roof. And we see it all the time with older, more vintage stuff that people can't afford to display the booster box because it's just too damn expensive. But they turn to getting the next best thing, which could be an ETB in some cases, or a lot of cases it could be a 3-pack blister, because they actually display quite well and it sits between the budget quite nicely. So Team Up 3-pack blister or an Astral Radiance booster pack. I suppose you've got to ask yourself, how much more climbing does a 3-pack blister have? Team Up's great. It's one of the greatest modern sets. In my opinion, the best sets to come out in the last 5 years goes like this: Evo Skies, Cosmic Eclipse, Team Up. That's my example. And I put Unified Minds at 4. That's how I see it. Everyone else might see it a little bit differently, but that's how I see it. So I suppose if we look back to vintage stuff, okay, what would some of the best EX Series 3-pack blisters cost you? You're probably going to have to pay $1,200, $1,500 in some cases, maybe up to $2,000 for an EX Deoxys 3-pack blister pack. So there's room to grow there still. But how much room to grow does Astral Radiance have as a booster box? I think for Team Up 3-pack blister to move from, say, $200 to $1,000, that's going to be a massive timeline. Okay, so to 5x its value, we could be talking 10 plus years. But I think for an Astral Radiance booster box to move from 175 to 1,000 or 200 to 1,000, you know, again, 5xing its value, I think it'll do it in a slightly smaller time frame. So for my money there, as good as a 3-pack blister is and as great a set as Team Up is, I'd probably park my money from an investment standpoint into Astral Radiance. Last one, and I said we're going down with a big finale. This is for the big players, the big whales. I suppose a lot of people, you know, people have been talking about buyouts of booster boxes and, you know, Sword and Shield on TCG Player, people buying case after case after case and maybe just stacking them up. I've seen photos of people just with stacks and stacks of cases of, you know, Lost Origin and Silver Tempest and the like. So how about this one, right? 1 Fire Red Leaf Green booster box. So hard to figure out the price, but let's call it an even 20K or 21K, whatever you're probably going to have to spend something in the vicinity of that to get one. You might be able to get a deal off someone, but man, it's going to be hard to come by, isn't it? Or 100 Lost Origin booster boxes at roughly 20K or 21K. Okay, they're going for about $210 a booster box at the moment. So maybe you've struck a deal and you've bought 100 for 20K. Which is going to be the better investment here? This is a tricky one, isn't it? But in my eyes, not really. So you've got to ask yourself that same question. How long is it going to take for Fire Red Leaf Green to double, so from 20K to 40K, versus Lost Origin just to go from $200 to $400? And this is the big modern versus vintage debate, isn't it? You know, do you invest in 1 first edition Team Rocket booster box or 100 Lost Origin booster boxes? And surely it's got to be a no-brainer, doesn't it? I mean, things sort of have their time in the sun a little bit. And I've done a whole video on this that some things just, they won't last forever unless there's some real nostalgia behind it, like first edition booster box, Sky Ridge, the smallest print run Pokemon booster box in the final Wizards of the Coast era. Like, there's got to be some nostalgia around it for it just to keep climbing and climbing and climbing. Like, where's Fire Red Leaf Green going to pull its 40K value from? I can certainly tell you where Lost Origin is going to pull its $400 value from, which is double 200. So 200 a box to 400 a box versus Fire Red Leaf Green, 20K to 40K. So this is quite an easy one in my eyes. The investment choice here is to go the 100 Lost Origin booster boxes and just enjoy them going up. Well, hey, that was something a little bit different for today. Hope everyone got something out of the video. I'm Michael. This is Paldea. Catch everyone next time.